Street.
Okay.
Yep, and here today we got, well, it's me, Matt Collins here,
Colin, what up, guys?
and our guest from the Urbanist, Ryan Packer.
Hey guys, how's it going?
All right, man, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks.
Welcome to the show.
First guest of 2019.
Glad to be here.
Good, good.
Around the same time as we started doing Move Seattle bike projects, SDOT came up with a new way to install bike infrastructure, which is, hey, we're repaving this street. And so a couple streets have been getting repavings, and it's also a bike master plan segment. So if we're going to do that at the same time, we should just restripe with a bike lane, add the posts. It comes out to a fraction of the cost because you're already doing the work and repaving it, and you have crews out there. Doesn't need to go out to bid multiple times. But that's how you get into a situation like 35th Avenue.
Which one's that?
Okay.
Which
one's that?
Is this a situation like we were talking about up by the St. Mark's Cathedral? Was that like a paving situation, or we don't know where that came from?
So 35th is a street in northeast Seattle, so over in Wedgwood. And so that was on the repaving schedule. And it was announced that they were going to try and put bike lanes on the street as proposed by the bike master plan.
Nice.
There wasn't going to be enough room for a protected bike lane in both directions, particularly because there's some bus stops. So it's going to be a protected bike lane in one direction and a paint bike lane, non-protected, in the other direction between 65th and 85th. And the neighborhood had quite a large fit about that.
Yeah, there's some real action going on over there. I've heard Save 35th and Safe 35th. What's going on?
So save 35th. Save as in keep the same, as in don't change anything.
Status quo.
As in we don't want to lose our parking along 35th Avenue. The proposal was to take out a lane of parking on one side of the street. Currently, on 35th, or I should say before the repaving, you were not allowed to park on one side of the street during morning rush hour and not allowed to park on one side of the street during PM rush hour. And they were just proposing moving that all to one side. And so it's not a big reduction of parking. And there's a huge amount of off-street parking in the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
But the ironic thing is, after several, 18 months now of vitriol and back and forth and community meetings and death threats for Rob Johnson, council member, and fireworks placed on construction site, equipment as an intimidation tactic.
Whoa.
So, so people aren't happy.
No. Well, okay. So this was SDOT's idea.
It was, yeah, but it was backed up by Rob Johnson, who's a neighborhood District 4 representative.
That's his district,
now
right?
retiring, yes, from the council after one term.
Oh my goodness!
He received death threats over this, and so
this is all within the last year and a half.
And so our new mayor has sent that into mediation. And so there's Save 35th versus Save 35th. You guys come up with a solution. The compromise, quote unquote, alternative was we take away the bike lanes and we had a turn lane, which would not have added any parking back to 35th and would have provided no safe place for bikes. And it was basically a no-win alternative. No one should be happy with that, except Save 35th went ahead and said they're okay with that.
That's
which
interesting.
Just tells you about they really just don't want bikes on their street.
Yeah, because it's not the parking now.
Right. Oh, they can't park there.
Yeah.
They couldn't park there. They can't park there unless they get their way.
There's no alternative that adds any more parking back. And the neighborhood doesn't need extra parking. It was at 40% utilization according to a SDOT study, and there's a huge amount of off-street parking. But
I really so this is related, but slightly. I have a hard time understanding why parking is so important. Why is that something, like we were talking about measurables? Why was parking higher priority than wait times or something? It feels like it, I joked about it earlier, but car parking is really important to people.
Yeah, you're just seeing that direct connection between sort of small businesses and the neighborhood, and so there's this perceived direct connection between amount of money spent at businesses and the amount of parking. And
so what's one of the myths then for that?
The myth is that people who ride by bike spend more on average, and people who ride by transit spend more on average than people who ride by car.
So that's true.
It's true, and that a loss of parking is not correlated to a loss of businesses. I mean, a loss of business, I should say, sales dollars. And you all know examples of great businesses that are really popular that don't have very much parking or any parking at all.
We're in one of them right now.
Yeah.
And, Pike Place Market is a great example of that. Even though there's obviously garages nearby, and there's always parking close by, usually where you're going, unless you're going to an uninhabited island, I guess. But but you just have to walk a little bit. So, but there's this sort of direct connection. You need to have people able to hop back in their car after stopping somewhere. But people find alternatives. And that's true for traffic too. So it's sort of that. Those are kind of the same issue, resolved the same way.
So if there's a lot of hype around if there's not enough traffic going on, then there's going to be inefficiencies there. If there's not enough parking available, that there's not going to be enough business spent around there because bikes are getting in the way of cars parking, cars moving through to spend dollars.
Yeah.
So, but you just said that that's not true at all.
No.
Well,
right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no.
I was going to relate it to something that we have going on currently. Like, what happens if we delete a highway in the middle of the city just for like a month and see what it's going to be chaos.
Right.
What happens if we delete a bunch of parking spaces? Oh, it's going to be chaos. Business is going to go under and stuff. Wait, why don't we try that?
Right.
I mean, we did try that, and nothing's on fire.
Yeah, these gain traction really quickly and really easily.
Yeah.
It would seem with major news medias about closures of this. You're going to have to adapt.
Look what happens when there's a threat of snow.
And that too.
Yeah. I mean, the food business, like grocery stores, soar as soon as there's a threat of snow. Everybody buys all the water. There's the surge in business, and that's all media fueled.
Right.
Well, Weather Channel.
Yeah, and then if
media
sponsored. No. So
But even with the loss of parking, like we're talking about safety here, so you really can't compare the two things very seriously in your mind, and then you have to ask yourself what kind of city we need to have to move into a carbon light or a carbon neutral future. Ultimately, we do have a lot of car-centric businesses in cities because we've built cities for cars for a couple decades now, and so.
And Seattle's built around. I mean, Seattle wasn't built before the car. Essentially, like the car came to Seattle
barely. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like right in line.
Sure. But I'm not saying that. You look at a thing like the Missing Link, and you have a lot of industrial businesses which are great, but we look at the future, and it's not necessarily going to be those industries that are
It's not going to be transportation by vehicle.
Yeah.
Motor vehicle.
Okay.